Hey, good morning, guys. I hope you guys are having a great morning so far. It's 8:18 in Atlanta, so you back in the valley. You're an hour behind. Maybe you're driving to work. So a couple of you guys asked what happened to the talks. Well, we were on vacation. How's that? Yesterday I did drop the ball, so here I am early in the morning. It's been a week since I gave that first talk about the 5 words to live by. For those of you who haven't seen that video, basically it was a question that I had asked on Facebook about if you had the opportunity to give advice to somebody, what would be the 5 core values, that you believe in, the 5 words to live by, And the next day I did a talk on improving 1%. If you could improve 1% of us being a member of a team, and so we're all on a team, and talked about the desire to make things better for yourself. Try to improve just 1%. If you can improve 1% a day, you'll have a completely different life. In 3 months, you'll see a difference. In half a year, in a year, you'll see a huge difference if you just improve a little bit every day. And so the other talks, there's supposed to be somewhat of a progression to it. That way, when you read it or when you listen to it, you can kind of follow a progression. And the last talk I gave was having a prosperity consciousness, a prosperity mindset, and some techniques that I use to get into that mindset. Now, that's something that's going to take a while, guys. It's not something that you're going to go from one day to the next. It's kind of like working out. You want to gain weight or lose weight. It's going to take some effort. You're not going to just work out one day and, be 200 pounds of pure steel and sex appeal, So, it's a gradual thing. And it's like I said, if you do something every day to make yourself better and practice that, you'll definitely achieve that. So I would ask basically, what are the books that you're reading? What are the seminars that you're going to? What are the motivational thoughts that you're listening to? And right now, today, guys, I use the word educated a lot, and people need to get educated. And a lot of people confuse educated with being schooled. Schooled is going to a classroom, a university, and getting a teaching degree or a degree. And that's not what I'm talking about. I follow a few people on Facebook and Periscope and other social media site. And a lot of these guys are not schooled, but they're educated. We live in a time now where there's no reason why you can't get an education through either books, you can even get on damn YouTube and learn how to do stuff, find out about stuff, so there's no reason why, we can't improve and be better. It's just a matter of do you want to? Can you find yourself a big enough why? Why do I want to be there? And so my challenge to you would be, read. One of the guys that I listened to on Periscope, he was saying, I don't go to bed without reading 10 pages a day. It used to be try to read a book a month, and then a book every 2 weeks, and then a book a week, and then life gets busy sometimes. You have deadlines, you have meetings, you have work, you have kids, clubs, associations, things of that nature. And then every now and then, you want to get together with friends and have a good time, and you don't make time for these things. But a lot of this is not time management, and a lot of people, that's a popular word, time management. You need to use your time wisely. I don't believe in time management. I believe in priority management. I manage my priorities. If it's important, I'll do it. It's not a matter of time. If it's important to me, it'll get done. But if it's not, then I don't have time for it. Simple as that. Because it's not a priority. So you've got to make learning and becoming better and improving a priority. If you do that, then I think slowly but surely you'll find a way to do it. And again, so this guy was talking about, he gets really busy or what have you. And he says, you know what? Okay, the least that I will do is read 10 pages a day. And so I find myself in that predicament where I'm busy and work, and I'm a little short-handed right now. And so I find myself in a situation where I'm tired. I'm just exhausted, and I need a mental break, and so there's times where I actually do find it hard to read 2 chapters, you know. And so I've adopted that mentality of, I'm going to read at least 10 pages. And so right now I'm reading a book by Gary Zukav, which is a great book. I'm really enjoying it. And there was one thing that really resonated with me. And that's another thing that I want to point out right now, is that I don't believe in coincidences anymore. I believe that a coincidence is just life, universe, God's way of speaking to us. You run into a situation that's a coincidence. I think that if you spend a little bit of time trying to figure out what the value is there, there's a little golden nugget that was just dropped in your hand, and you say, oh, what a coincidence, and I just don't think it is a coincidence. I think that those things happen, and the more that happens to you, the better you should feel. I mean, when coincidences like that happen to me, that to me is a reassurance of I'm on the right path. It happened to me twice already this morning. I was listening to a guy on Periscope, and he says, somebody asked him, well, why do you do what you do? And he says, I do what I do because I feel an obligation to help others. I feel an obligation. I feel that one of my calling is to help people achieve more. I want to help people be successful because I was where you're at. And so that resonated with me because that's what I feel is my purpose in this life. And through discussions and through, communication, I think that that's what happens. You open the eyes of somebody else. Some of you guys bring up good points that it makes me think, and so I think it's a good thing for everybody involved. And that's why I think that there's a value in the communication, obviously. So, coincidences, I just don't, believe too much, in coincidences. What I wanted to talk about was in this book by Gary Zukav, I ran into a part that I really, really liked, and it really just resonated with me. And it's something that I'm experiencing in my life. Again, a coincidence. He talks about having a reverence for life, to honor, to respect life, and life of all forms, and I'm not going to sit here and be judgmental of somebody else. Okay? Understand that it's one of those things, if the shoe fits, well, it is what it is. So I'm not trying to attack anybody, and I there's times where it does seem like that, but I promised you that's not my intentions. But he mentions in the book that you have to honor life, you have to respect life, and all life. I don't know if you've heard that little saying that if you love a flower, then you need to leave it alone. Let it continue to live where it's blooming. You see, because the minute you pick it, you have killed that flower. So then the logic goes, then you must just like it enough, but you don't really love it, because if you loved it, then you'd let it grow where it's at. You'd admire the beauty of it and let it continue to grow for the next person that passes by. The minute you cut it off and you hoard that to yourself, you have killed that flower. So you have to have a reverence for life to say, you know what, I love flowers and I'm going to let them bloom so that other people can enjoy their beauty too. If you're going to be doing, cockfights or dog fights, according to Gary and his example, which I would happen to agree, you need to have, again, a reverence towards life, towards those dogs, towards those, animals that you're fighting and hurting, because when you hurt someone or something, then, especially if it's done intentionally, then, and I really believe that it doesn't matter if you do it intentionally or unintentionally. It doesn't matter, because life, God sees it as, well, I guess that's the way it is, so that's what you like, then that's what we'll give you. I believe that the life is going to balance out, and so if if you don't show that reverence for life, then some of that's going to come back on you. You know, the saying, what goes around comes around. You know, I really wholeheartedly believe that. And so it's funny that this author is talking about that, and then a little bit after that, he mentions karma. He mentions how in life that will even itself out, and maybe not in this lifetime, but in the next. And so he mentions a very good story about, I mean, not a story, but an example of seeing a homeless person. Our first inclination is to see, when we see a homeless person, is to say, yeah, poor guy, man, I wonder what happened to him, and, you know, give him money, that, or whatever, you know. And what he says is that we need to honor life and say, you know, what can I do to help that situation? But leave it at that. Leave it at that, because the minute you start saying, that poor guy, you know, it's cold and that or whatever, you know, you don't know what caused them to be there. Maybe 10 years before that, he stole left and right. He robbed people left and right. So this is just karma coming back and balancing everything out. But we don't know that. So we can't make an informed decision because we don't know. So the best that we could do is help by either giving him money, you know, giving him a coat, or, you know, help in that instance the best you can, and move on. Don't get involved in the judgment as to, you know, what happened or whatever, you know, and try to figure out the life story of what happened to this guy. Do the best that you can to improve the situation at that precise moment, and then move on. Leave it behind. Go to the next stage of your life, the next moment in your life, you know. And so I thought that was pretty cool, because, you know, we go through life thinking, you know, that we know how other people live, and we don't. Not only do we not know, we didn't live that life. We don't know what their upbringing was. You know, for example, right now we're going through a situation where this lady, what is it, Kim Davis? You know, I mean, it's for me, this topic meant a lot, because I'm going through that frustration of this lady, you know, of her not willing. I mean, if I don't know this to be true, but from what I read, her job is a $80,000 job, you know, of which she is elected. So she has an obligation to fulfill her duties to the best of her abilities. And she's knowingly breaking a law. Now, again, she has every right to believe what you want to believe, by all means. But the minute you try to enforce those beliefs on some other people, that's when you're wrong. You can't do that. You need to, you know, a lot of people write on there, you know, Jesus is the way and pray to God, whatever. You guys need to remember that some people don't believe in God. So what happens to that argument? Now, I do. And I know most of you guys do. I do. But I have friends, or maybe not friends, but people that I know that don't believe in God. And they treat me better than some of my friends. And they don't believe in God. So when you write and you type prayer is the answer, or God is the answer, if they don't believe in God, that means shit to them. You're wasting your breath. You're wasting your time. Because it's not about God, because God doesn't exist to a portion of the population. So then maybe we should say, hey, let's treat everybody with reverence, with a respect, with an honor, because we're all individuals. Everybody has the same human rights, or at least we should, you know. And so if somebody tells you, you know, something negative about your religion or about your beliefs in your God, just like I did, and I said, you know, people don't believe in God. If that offends you, then you don't believe in God the way you think you do, because it shouldn't offend you. You believe in God. Know what you believe. Have faith in what you believe, and stick to your guns. But in doing so, don't put somebody else down, because at that point, when you get all riled up, like this lady saying that it goes against her belief and her biblical beliefs or what have you, but yet she's divorced 3 damn times and had an affair. This is the worst damn person to be talking about the religion and the Bible and biblical beliefs and things of that nature. She's the wrong person to be sticking up to fight this cause. And again, it's her job. She needs to honor and do her job. If not, then that's okay. Go get a job somewhere else. But we can't impose our beliefs on other people. Now, at the same time, somebody can say, well, Joe, you're expressing some views that perhaps I don't believe in. That's true. But I don't throw my beliefs with a judgment of saying you need to do this or else. I believe deep in my core, I believe that those that have and those that know have an obligation to continue to spread that word. It's almost like being a disciple of God, God's word or what have you. You know, I think we're all called to be disciples of God and to live a good Christian life. But you've got to live that life, and by the same token, not be judgmental about it. You have an obligation to say, hey, you know, pray about it. Well, I don't believe in God. Okay, well then if you don't believe in God, then take your time, you know, backtrack a little bit and think, if I was in his shoes, would I want to be treated that way? And approach it in a manner that would make sense to that person, because that person doesn't believe in God. So again, I believe that we all need to, those that have, and we all have something to offer. There's an obligation to enlighten the next person, because the next person can also enlighten us. And that's what it's about exchanging ideas, exchanging thoughts, exchanging viewpoints. And in doing so, we all grow. And again, it goes back to growing 1%. 1% every day. Have a conversation with somebody that's older than you, 10, 15, 20 years older than you, you know, and learn about history or learn about how life was before, you know. And so, again, try to improve, have a reverence for life, for all life, not just, you know, human life, but for animals and for living things, living organisms, you know. Understand that that beauty needs to continue. If you love it, let it exist. Don't kill it. Let it exist. Let other people benefit from the beauty that you see in the objects. All right. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure I got something to you guys today. It's about 8:40, 8:35. I'm going on 18 minutes already. So I usually like to keep these to 15 minutes. So I'm a little bit over already, so I'm gonna just end it here, guys. So I hope you guys have a great day, and try to do something to make things better for yourself and somebody else. Smile. It doesn't cost anything. Try to help somebody, improve somebody, live with joy in your heart. Give, share, care, show compassion, empathy. Make life better for everybody. Don't get caught being the weakest link on the team, guys. Improve every day. Find a book. Read 10 pages. I'll probably give you another talk in a little bit later, now that I thought about something else that I want to talk about. So anyway, have a great day, guys, and we'll see you later. And remember, we got all the cards and a joker too.